Welcome to another Colors of Prog. It's been about a month since I've done one of these. And so this time around, I decided to do yes, soundalike bands. I know, it's off the track. But anyway, I think this might be an interesting one. Maybe a short one, but an interesting one. So, everyone knows yes if you're into progressive rock. And yes, I've been around for a very long time. And so, what I decided, because, there's a lot of bands that emulate yes, they're called tribute bands. Here on the East Coast of the United States, there are quite a few. There's Wondrous Stories, there's Total Mass Retain, very good band. So is Wondrous, but Total Mass Retain is really, really good. And but in a more formal way, bands actually have recorded that sound like yes. So I mean, if you're really into this, you already know that there's a lot of Italian bands, RPI bands, that evoke the yes sound. The singer may not always sound like John Anderson, but the combination of the keyboards, the drums, the trebly bass, etc., the singer will sometimes go high in his vocals and will give you a yes-like sound. Wobbler does that. Some PFM has done that. Definitely Banco. There are quite a few tunes, albums in the Banco catalog that certainly have that yes kind of sound. But what really sounded like yes. So what I decided was like go way deep, Starcastle. The Starcastle is really interesting because they're a U.S. band. The singer, Terry Luttrell, actually is on the very first Journey album, believe it or not. He was the very first singer for Journey. And so what's up with Starcastle? Well, they were Gary Strader, Steven Hassler, Herb Schilt, Matthew Stewart, and Stephen Hagler. Two guitar players, a keyboardist, a drummer, bass, and a lead vocal. So these guys are American, and they were kicking around the circuit for a while, and they got a deal with Epic Records, 1976. This album, their first, I think is very good. Not great, it's very good. It's very much got the yes sound in there. Lady of the Lake, Elliptical Seasons, Forces, Stargate, Sunfield. There's 8 songs on here, and a lot of these tunes have that yes sound. Were they imitating yes, emulating yes, or just being their own selves, influenced by yes? And I think the latter. I have seen some posts, and I have friends who say, "Oh, yes, imitation." Well, you know what? I think sometimes, like if a band gets together and they're really into a particular kind of music, and they really wanted to do this sound, go for it, man. And this first Starcastle album is quite good. I enjoyed it. There are people I know that liked it as well, and it's quite good. It's got It's got like this kind of fall Roger Dean thing going on, but they tried hard within a short amount of time. So Citadel was the next one. I believe this is a Greg Hildenbrand cover. And the interesting thing, the first couple of albums that this band did was that they were produced by Roy Thomas Baker. If that name's unfamiliar to you, the Cars, you know, he had that big sound. RTB had this huge sound. You remember the first few Cars albums? There's a Queen. He produced Queen. I mean, it just had this. The guy went into the studio and was like, boom, big sound. And Starcastle working on it. You know, here's the back cover. You know, nice. This one also has about, you know, less than 10 songs, and they really tried working this. The first one is the best of the Starcastle bunch. This is not bad. Citadel. By 1977, so like a year later, they're really working. They're doing a workhorse thing. So Fountains of Light come out, and so what's going on here? Still produced by Roy Thomas Baker, still recorded in England, and the band is really working the Yes sound, but they're actually trying to, by 1978, in the United States at least, sounds of music have changed quite a bit, and what was very popular at the time. And the band is still pretty much as was. And so they're trying to do that Yes thing, but there's also a lot of, I would say, maybe Deep Purple, maybe some MOR sound, you know, middle of the road on one or two kind of ballady type tunes. But it's not terrible. It's good. It's good. To my knowledge, Starcastle's last album of original songs was Reel to Reel, which is this. And there I have a demo copy, and I have another copy. Yes. By this time, they were trying to really get out there, and Journey had become much bigger. Rush had become much bigger, and punk was coming out, and so we're talking 1978. And so it's like, what do we do with our sound? Because there's only one Yes, and you know, we have the sound that we like, but we want to make it. So New Wave is coming out on the tail coats of punk. And New Wave would be really big about a year later. Yeah, 81, 82? 80, 81, 82, sorry. And so I have friends who were in bands who took photos like this. You guys would recognize these, right? Come on, how many guys are taking back cover photos like this, or front cover photos? But Starcastle had really changed their sound by this time. Much buried in the mix with the Yes influence, and they were trying to make it. You know, it's just like a full album, 10 tunes, and I think they really were trying their best to break that barrier. And because even today, people say, "Oh, Starcastle, they were the Yes imitation, or they were the Yes wannabes." And hey, how many bands do you know that sound like them? Well, there are quite a few, as I mentioned previously, but I enjoyed these, and you might too, and you could shop around to find these. Now, Terry Luttrell, who was the Starcastle singer, is still active. And thank goodness, right? And Terry still performs. I believe he lives in the area of Chicago nowadays. So he sings with local bands and his own band. And he was with Starcastle from 73 through 79 because he was, remember, I said he was with REO Speedwagon from 68 to 72. I didn't say the years before, but he was the original REO Speedwagon. He's on the debut album as his lead singer. And he's still around, but I think he's realized, I like to sing. I like to sing the music. So Terry's still out there. And I give people credit for, you like a certain kind of music. It's not called imitations. It's not called emulation. It's not called tribute. It's like, I like this band. I want to play their music. And eventually, if you go on to record your own music or create your own music in the style of that band, go ahead. There's quite a few, and too numerous to mention, and it's for another program, Italian artists that I've listened to that I'm like, oh my God, this sounds like Yes. This guy sounds like John Anderson, but only on this tune or a couple of tunes. So Yes is a huge, huge influence over music and over progressive music in general. So be that as it may, so Benoit David, I'm going to jump. Benoit David was in a band called Mystery, a very interesting band. They were, I guess, kind of band. They're a prog band with, I would say, hard rock overtones. And Benoit David, Canadian, they were a Canadian band, and he was a singer. And he was a very good singer. And he was with them with Mystery for about 3 albums. And something happened. So along the way, Benoit works with a tribute band called Close to the Edge. There's quite a few. As I said, Canada had one. And Close to the Edge might still be active. Who knows? I don't know. Someone could tell me. And so one of the YouTube videos that someone had shot of Close to the Edge, Chris Squire from Yes had seen. He was very intrigued. So Chris Squire, the bass player, late bass player from Yes, contacted Benoit David and made the connection. And so Benoit joined Yes. And very interesting story came from that because Benoit then toured with Yes. Because John Anderson had this famously bizarre respiratory illness, the original singer from Yes, and he was no longer in Yes. It was decided upon, like, it was very hard for him to sing, breathe, just taking a break. But Steve Howe decided to go on forth with the band. So he was replaced by Benoit David, who they pulled from YouTube, right? Duh, weird. And instead of taking a break and waiting until John Anderson got well again. Yes. Anyway, what happened was Benoit joins Yes, and he starts touring with them from 2009 to 2010. And actually, I've saw Benoit David a number of times with Yes, and he was quite good. Some people actually, I'm not taking sides, prefer him to John Davidson, the current singer. It's fine, it's your choice. Benoit was very good, and he recorded Fly From Here, a Yes studio album. He's on in the present Live from Lyon, and recently released within the last 2 years From a Page, were extra songs recorded while Benoit was with the band. So Benoit David mysteriously, I know, he was with a band called Mystery before he joined Yes, mysteriously left Yes. So the story goes that from Yes, corporate, Benoit had some respiratory issues. He was unable to continue with the band. And he was replaced. But Benoit had said, he read about it on social media, that he was replaced. Yes, this is a long-going issue. Right now, as far as I know, I don't know what Benoit David has been doing in the last few years, but he was very, very good when he was with the band, Yes. And so, where are we going from here? So, there's a band called Glass Hammer. So, Glass Hammer is a progressive rock band, and they have a particular sound. It's dreamy, it's ethereal, but it's also very, very close in a way. But the singer is very good. So John Anderson, sorry John Davidson, the singer for that band. Last summer, he becomes the New Year's singer. And that's how this goes, right? So, to me, this is one of the best Glass Hammer albums with John Davidson, and very nice. You guys figure out what's up with that. So John has been with the band, Yes, since Benoit David's departure. And but they only did one album called Heaven and Earth in about 7 years ago. And the resulting comments of the release of that album was, we're not crazy about the lyrics, and I didn't quite retain the Yes sound. Everyone is very loyal to the Yes sound. All the Yes loyalists, fanatics, whatever you may call them or us. And so there were issues with also the production. Chris Squire, at the time, and since the beginning, was like one of the main linchpins. He was like the Yes stronghold. Bass player Chris Squire, and I think he wanted to give John Davison some leeway on the Heaven and Earth, and but it's just like probably one of the weaker albums in the entire Yes catalog. Be that as it may, Chris Squire toured and John Davison toured with the Yes band at that time. They went through multiple keyboard players, Rick Wakeman's son, Oliver Wakeman, yeah, a man called Igor, then Jeff Downs from the Buggles came back. Oh my God, he's still there. And the thing is, it took a while for John Davison to put in his stamp. I'm not John Anderson. I'm not Benoit David. I'm myself, but I'm going to put forth the feeling that John Anderson put out there. I'm going to give you this aura of the sound that you like. The problem was Chris Squire took ill. Yes, the famously great, I've seen him so many times, famously great bass player. I've seen a lot of bass players, I've seen a lot of bands in my life. He was one of the best bass players I've ever saw. Physically, emotionally, theatrically, the guy was just amazing on bass. He had a sound, trebly. And it's funny, very few bands I've heard, I can say, oh, I hear that Chris Squire sound. There's a band called Ars Nova, Japanese band, all women. The female bass player I've heard, one of their earliest albums, I'm like, that's Chris Squire's sound. There's a few out there, it's like, that's Chris Squire's sound, because they like that sound. And that sound translates, and that trebly bass, like, roundabout, South Side of the Sky, same album. It's just fragile. He was an amazing bass player. He took ill, and Billy Sherwood, who worked with Chris on a couple of albums, solo albums, and then they were in a band called Circuit, I believe. Chris wanted Billy Sherwood to take over for him the bass duties. Yes, and he did. And then Chris passed away. So yes, as a recording institution, pretty much was dead. They toured for the last, fill in the blank years, and they were doing prog rock cruises. They were doing yearly tours pre-pandemic, and I believe they did the best. I saw some shows that were lackluster. I saw some shows that we were coming out, and I was talking to a fellow concert girl. I was like, that's the worst Yes concert I ever saw. And then I would see one that was like, that was the best Yes concert I ever saw in my life. Very weird, but everyone who plays music, you have on days, you have off days, be it as it may. So what happened was Fly From Here, the Benoit David first and only Yes studio album, was re-recorded with vocals mixed by the original album's producer and re-released about 2 years ago. And I have to say, it's even, no knock on Benoit, it's even better than the Benoit David version of Fly From Here. It was called Return Shred, Fly From Here. And then last year, there was a release called Return From Past, I believe, which had about 4 or 5 unreleased Benoit David tunes, which was very nice to hear. And where does that leave us? So, It's like quickie on Yes sound alike bands and tribute bands and bands I've recorded and some information about Yes. So Yes has actually just recorded their first new album in God knows how many years. Was it 8, 12? Since Chris Squire had passed away. And it's the current band, which is Steve Howe still, and John Davison, Jeff Downs, and Alan White, Billy Sherwood, and Jay Shellen, who's been sitting in now. If anybody has ever seen Yes in the past 5 years, Alan White had some surgery on his back, and he can only play about 2 or 3 songs on a live set. And no knock on Alan, I can only imagine how difficult that must be. But Jay Shellen is like the hidden mystery member of Yes. He's very good live. He does most of the show. He's actually on the extra drummer, which probably means he's probably did most of the drum tracks. Which leads me to say, well, yeah, technically, there's no member of Yes that was an original member of Yes. Because Chris has passed on. John is not in the band, and I think he wants to come back, but I don't know, it's another story. And Tony Kaye was back. He was one of the original keyboard players 2 years ago for the Yes 50th tour. Steve joined later. So technically, there's nobody in Yes that was the original member of Yes. And even Alan joined a little later on. But I think the reason why they bring Jay Shellen on, because he's a very good drummer, he's a session man, and he really does the music well. And even if Alan cannot perform, they'll leave Jay there. So anyway, there was my brief talk on Yes tribute bands and Yes sound-alike bands, and hope you enjoyed it. I hope to be back more often. Have fun, stay safe. Thank you. I really appreciate it.